And this isn't we need to move Thomas Chabot because he's not a good hockey player, which people like to dump on in the city. Thomas Chabot's contract right now is the key part, right? Is the no trade or the no move clause kicks in July 1. He gets $10 million next year in salary. If there was ever a time, it would be now. And it's not to move somebody, it's to make your team better in how you recover whatever assets you can. Do you think Thomas Chabot is moved here?
And that's part of the problem is, as much as you're looking at the contract and saying, hey, if not now, then when? The problem is that's what a lot of other teams are looking at. And they might say, hey, I like the player a lot, but I don't know that I really want to commit $8 million a year for the next 4 years for him to be that guy on my team. And so that's where you start to run into an issue of, well, where can we find and create the most value here? Which is why I came back to Jacob Chychrun as the guy that makes sense. Is teams can mold him with whatever contract they choose, plus get, a couple playoff runs out of this current deal that really makes a lot of sense. I think the one thing to point out with the Sens and, looking at Chabot and that contract and where he sits right now, people look, I think, kind of, I don't want to say, because no one's viewpoint is ever wrong, but I think people look at the Sens, probably at times with their overall scheme of, oh, this is a really young team that, they're looking to try and find their way. Like, let me remind you now that Thomas Chabot is 26. He's not 22. He's not 21. These are guys that are trending closer to 30 as, look, age catches up to everyone. But, you start to get out of that conversation of, well, he's just a young guy still developing. Like, no, this is a guy that's an established NHL player, 400 NHL games under his belt. At some point he kind of just is what he is. And same thing can be said about some of the other pieces on the team.